Morning all, and while shadow silently judges you. Doing the history of the Montreal Canadiens jerseys is kind of weird because this is the first jersey that they had in the National Hockey League. The logo's remarkably similar. The C's more opened up than what they have now, but honestly, Montreal hasn't really made any major changes over the years. 1924-25, after winning the Stanley Cup, they did have a globe on the front of their jersey. And then they went back to the C logo that we all know for quite a while after that. And it's bizarre because it really hasn't changed. But that being said, let's go ahead and go through my collection and find differences that do actually occur with these different little changes along the way when it comes to Montreal jerseys as Shadow starts bathing and stops judging. Now this is a throwback jersey I have to the design that they wore long ago. The only difference between this and what they wear now is the logo is a slightly different shape. And of course you've got the stripe around the middle. It's a nice jersey. This one I got from, I want to say, Ice Jerseys. I think it was Ice Jerseys that I got this one from. But again, it's a throwback, and this is the big difference is the shape of the C. That's the big difference, the shape of the C. And honestly, if you don't point it out to people, they probably don't notice because it's such a minor difference. And you wonder who was it that said, you know what? We got to close up that C. For the NHL's 75th anniversary, they brought this one out. And if you're like, well, what's the difference? Well, there's a C on the sleeve. So, honestly, yeah. I mean, if all Montreal jerseys are pretty close. So, over the 75th anniversary, when they were wearing basically this, they said, oh, let's do a throwback. Let's do this. Stripes are in a bit of a different location. Looks a little bit different. But it's still remarkably similar. Now, when they did the Centennial jerseys, this one I currently have. This one I got from an eBay seller, just a regular, everyday, private eBay seller. And I like this. This is a nice jersey. It's something a little different. I do not have the one that was a red jersey with a green maple leaf with a C in the middle. I do not have the barber pole jersey either. I just showed you guys the other one I have, which technically is how the other one they wore for the Centennial season looks. And again, this is, I'm going to guess, Club Athletique. That's what I'm going to guess it stood for. Because again, Montreal has been very, very consistent throughout. The other two jerseys, though, are always on my watch list. I do see them on eBay here and there. They're usually youth-sized. And they're still kind of expensive considering they're youth-sized, so I haven't picked them up. And again, it's part of it when you're weighing whether or not to get it is, well, how often am I going to wear it? How many videos can it go in? Is that one that's really all that important? In this case, it would have been nice to have, but again, I do have this one, and I like this one too. Now, this one is my Patrick Roy jersey, which I got from Full Moon Jerseys for a bid of $33. Which was fantastic. So I won a bid on this one, and then I got the 1993 Stanley Cup Centennial patch to put on here because the 93 run, that was the most recent run that any Canadian team had where they won the Stanley Cup, and it was one of Patrick Roy's best performances, which is saying something because he was pretty good each time that Montreal won the Cup, and then he went to Colorado and did the same there. Again, this is the same, virtually the same. The difference is the neckline, of course. It's basically, the one thing that changes on these jerseys is the neckline. Because everything else stays almost the same. They do change the number placement depending on the era and where they go on the jerseys, but you see no change between this Brian Gionta I'm wearing and this Patrick Roy, which is a Heroes of Hockey from, 92-93. I'm just looking going, that'd be embarrassing if this said 85-86 and this said 93. But I did get that part right. So this is one of those things I'm talking about where there's minor changes. You can see the neckline here. You see the neckline here. Just a very minor change. This is an authentic. When you see the green inside, It's sort of a really bright lime green, almost yellow. In here, that usually means you're dealing with an authentic. And honestly, it's a nice jersey. I do like this knit on the neckline, but again, there's really no big changes because Montreal knows they have a winning formula. And then I have the replica here, which was sent to me by a subscriber, which is a PK Subban jersey. And again, it shows that the number placement doesn't really change. There you go. Just a different neckline from the Brian Giunta jersey. Other than that, it's virtually identical. So other than using it for this video, and just in general, when I'm doing a video, I may, say, hey, check it out. One thing too, this says NHL, this says LNH. So when you see one that's LNH, it will always be the one that Montreal wears at home. And it doesn't mean that it's not right. I've seen people say, is this a fake? Because it doesn't say NHL, it says LNH. If it's a Canucks jersey and it says LNH, you run away. If it's a Montreal jersey, that is actually... I would think that it would be harder to find a fake where it says LNH, because I don't know that the ones that are making the fakes would necessarily care about that. I think they just throw the same NHL patch on all of them, but I haven't really looked. For the 2016 Winter Classic, Montreal wore this. Again, you have the LNH here, and you have the cross-hatching underneath. And this one has been tough. This one, you've got the felt around here, and since it's white and it's felt, you've really got to watch for pilling. Everything sticks to it, and whatever sticks to it will show up. This is why I barely ever wear this jersey. I have it. I like it. It's a jersey I really enjoy having. But I try not to wear it because I know it's going to be getting more and more difficult to find as the years go on, as that's what happens with jerseys. And yeah, so this one, be very, very careful. I would say as soon as you get one, you Scotch guard it. This one hasn't been Scotch guarded yet. Yvonne has Scotch guarded some of my jerseys with the felt on the front, which you can kind of see, but you have two choices. Either you're going to have the felt looking nice, or it's going to end up looking kind of ratty. And again, on the camera, it doesn't really show very much, but for me it does, and it kind of drives me crazy. So in 2017, the Montreal Canadiens were involved in the Centennial game against the Ottawa Senators, and this is absolutely beautiful. This is one of my favorite Montreal jerseys. Again, there's just something about this putting silver into a logo that it looks really, really nice. It really makes it pop. You've got the 100th anniversary here. This one I got through Ben H Sports, I do believe. And yeah, I mean, no, this one I got through, is it Sport Check? Because I know I got both Centennials. I'm trying to think back to, I'm thinking Sport Check. But anyways, this is one of those ones too that's getting harder to find. And again, with the white jerseys in general, I try not to wear them too much. But this is one of the nicer of the white jerseys around the National Hockey League. And I had kind of hoped at the time, I thought, if Montreal could keep that as the third, I mean, you don't have to have all of your Stanley Cups on your sleeve. You can if you want to. It seems kind of braggy. But, they could keep this logo, they could keep this design in general. And, I'd like to see it come back at some point because I think it's really nice. But again, this was for the Centennial, so we'll see if it ever comes back. And that brings us to the present. And again, very, very little changes. So what Patrick Roy wore, what they wear now, very little change. The interesting thing to me is that, Chicago fans lost their mind about the white coming around. Oh, it looks like a toilet bowl. I haven't heard that complaint about Montreal, and yet it's the exact same design. I find it so bizarre that we don't hear that same. I don't complain about it that way. I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, the neckline was just like this, and then Adidas took over and just made a minor change to it. But some people said, oh, it looks terrible now. And again, for Montreal, I like their jerseys a lot. I may not be a Montreal fan, but as you can tell, I've got a lot of Montreal jerseys. And then, of course, probably, I don't know, trying to rate where I have all of the white jerseys currently. This is why I have a document open on my computer at all times. Jersey rankings are always open on my computer, just so I can go check. I'm not going to check in this case, but I know this is one of the higher rated of the home jersey, or well, not home. White, I'm old enough to still think of as being home. Their away jerseys, the whites are still really, really nice. I like the striping. Very, very, very sharp, just clean. And again, They got it right. This is a team that got it right immediately. And as soon as they had their logo back in 1917 joining the NHL, they're like, yeah, that's good. We'll stop there. We're fine. That works. That works for us. All right, we're good. Everybody, turn in. We had a good night. And to this day, it stays the same. I mean, you've still got the passing on the flame French slogan inside the neckline, which is new for the Adidas. But outside of that, it's really basically the same thing, and I really can't blame them.